Hello?
Hi. Which one is it?
What do you mean?
What number?
Oh, I don't know.
Okay, fine. It's going to be one of those days.
Yep, it is. Deal with it. Okay, so what are we talking about today?
Your post.
What post? Just kidding.
It's just funny.
Okay, so I did a post this morning.
It was a really good post.
Thank you. You only like it because it was all about how great you are.
No, but it's true. You must surround yourself with greatness. to be
Shauna and I
great.
have turtlenecks on, and it's like
humid.
75 out.
Yes. Now we're just,
We're like, what?
yeah, I was sweating. I smell
Okay.
like a trucker. Hi, dudes.
Good. Okay, this is, do you want to read it? Can you read? I can't read that again. Oh, can't you read
It
that?
said, it occurred to me recently the importance of filling ourselves up with the right experiences and people is virtually important to our
Okay, I'm going to be reading now. It occurred to me recently the importance of filling yourselves up with the right experiences and people is vitally important to your success in this life, and training for that matter. By good fortune, the only experiences I have with positive reinforcement have been through Shauna, and what an honor that has been.
Hi, dudes.
However, hopefully this will not sound like bragging. I swear I do have a helpful point at the end of this. When I was in my early 20s, my mom bought me Shauna's book and I dabbled in it. I never read nor was exposed to anything else regarding positive reinforcement, and it took me some time to realize that most people have a much different background in their journey with R+. Not that I thought everyone had learned from Shauna, but that I thought the quality of their training would more or less have been relatively equal. Then Shauna and I started working together starting August of 2021. In the past 2.5 years or so, Shauna and I have done more than 65 clinics and events together, and we have personally worked with more than 600 horses during that time and consulted a few hundred beyond that. The amount of experience we've both gained has been sort of crazy. We started a membership as well, and that has been extremely fulfilling for us on a personal level. What is it all about? Helping people and horses. What it really allows us to do is to have the perspective of what is working and what doesn't work as well. What always works? Kindness. What doesn't? Assumptions, justification, excuse making, trying to be boss of people and horses. Like the horses, we must problem solve, and each day we relish that every horse and human that we work with is unique. Regardless of who they are, one unequivocal fact remains. Horses and people both are generally good in their souls, and it is the damage that's been done to them that shapes them to become what we label as crazy or bratty or dangerous or mean. But at the core of it lies deep-seated fear. All of these seemingly disagreeable, irksome, and unsavory souls have something in common: need. And this is also why we do not denigrate or belittle people who are using too harsh of anything like bits, spurs, whips, words. We are all on our own path to discovery, and no one will ever make changes by ridicule. The cognitive dissonance is too great. These are bruised and weary horses and people who need someone to scoop them up and carry them on their shoulders for a while with the most steadfast of care. It is not until they can understand that they are safe to let their defenses come down and that they start to heal. Shauna and I have worked with many horses like this. Aggressive horses, dangerous horses, scared to death horses, all need understanding and patience, and they will come around if you stay the course. The question is not if they will, the question is, do you have what it takes to stick it out? Maybe you don't, and that's okay. Just know that it is possible. This leads me back to my original sentence of this post, which is surround yourselves as best you can with the people who can get you to the right places in your life. I don't mean physically or in life status, but surround yourselves with those people who will bring you up, who celebrate you, who aren't afraid to let you do things you need to do to become a better human. It's vitally important to you becoming the best you can be. Why does it matter? Because when you have the freedom and awareness, you can then help others. As far as training goes, if you see a horse who is struggling and you're watching a trainer who does not have empathy, find another. There are amazing people out there. You might have to search hard for it, but it'll be worth it. And Shauna and I are also here if you need us. We have helped many horses get through. We have helped so many people get through to broken horses. We serve broken people. In case you didn't know it by now, that is all of us. It is our mission. It is our mission field as well. It fills us up like you wouldn't believe.
Yeah, well, it's okay.
Are you crying?
Yeah, no. I was cutting onions. I just think that's really, really nice. And it's really important that, you know, this world, I spent a great deal of my life feeling broken and kind of irreparably broken, you know, and feeling like I couldn't ever, you know, do it. And, and all that, you know, is really changed. And I want everyone out there to never be living by or being identified with sometimes the poor decisions we've made. You know, that, you know, being where I came from and the dysfunction I had as a result, I did things that were, you know, not great. You know, and maybe other people didn't feel as much as I did,
Mm-hmm.
but the hardest person to forgive when I got sober was me.
Mm-hmm.
And so when I look at people who have done things or maybe are in the midst of doing things, I mean, I don't want them to hurt me or continue hurting others, but I think then it goes to be with my parents, you know, and the molestation going on, and they were doing the best they could with the skills they had. And for me to continue to look at them by the problems that they had would be unfair, because there's a lot of goodness in there too, and a lot of love and a lot of all of that. They're both gone now. They're all gone now. I stepped out and that. But I think it's important that also with horse people, you're not to be judged on a mistake you made once for the rest of your life. Hopefully if we can grow from it and learn, then I'm ready to just move forward too. And I think that it's just a beautiful post, because it really is. We're all broken and we all need people around us that can help us when we feel on the lower side of things.
Yeah, and I think in regards to horses, how often is it? There are so many people who are labeling horses as crazy or witchy or whatever.
Bratty or
any
stubborn
adjective.
or, yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, in all the years of training, I've certainly come across some that were not my favorites. And the thing is, there's always a reason.
Yeah.
And I think that's something that we need to, I don't know, kind of suss out a bit.
Yeah, because behavior serves a purpose. It just doesn't come out of the blue. You know, they don't, well, you've heard us say this a lot, they don't have the prefrontal cortex isn't developed enough to manipulate and contrive and plan and plot. You know, they're just doing what they can to survive and to get the things they need in the world. And that's so they're typically responding out of fear. A lot of that behavior we interpret as, you know, not our favorite. It's typically fear induced. So I think it's really so please read her post, read it and reread it and reread it. I'm going to share it. I didn't even know she did it at first, because I've been busy in my own world. And then when we were in the car, and I was like, oh, and it's really, you know, it is lovely about me, of course, but the biggest thing
That's
is
her favorite part.
Yes.
If any of you have ever been to a clinic, in the beginning, typically, now when Shauna starts talking, you never know what's going to happen. Like, yeah,
I go all over the map.
You never know like where things are going to go, but typically she starts telling Addie's story, and then she goes on to say how wonderful I am.
But it's true. Not even. It's not made up.
I always tell people to listen closely because it's my favorite part.
And she can be doing other things, and she's like,
everybody
hello.
Pay attention.
Including her. Anyway, so it is. I just think it's a really lovely reminder that we're in a little empathy. Empathy goes a long way. If you can stop for a minute, and you heard it said before, if a horse is struggling with something, if you can stop a saying, he's being stubborn, he's being bratty, he's, faking it, he's whatever.
Yeah.
If you can stop and realize they're struggling with something, there's something that is causing most likely fear in them, which can come out very proactively. So it can look aggressive, but really it tends to be brought out from fear. So if you can stop and realize, okay, they're having a tough time with something. What would I want if I were struggling with something? And typically it's somebody to slow down and help you find the answer, give you some kind words, some grace, some grace, some safety in your learning, and safety in the fact that you maybe can't figure it out. You don't want someone going, what are you, an idiot? You want someone that goes, okay, let's break it down a little bit then. And so I think if we can have empathy with people and empathy with the horses, we're always in a better place, and I think that it is something that truly drives me, is this underdoggy empathy, helping. I want everybody, people, most people. No, really though, people and horses, I want to see them be better. You know what I mean? So when you see a horse that's really, one of my favorite is the really insecure horses, the ones that are just really having a tough time. Because then when you see that boldness and that confidence blossom, you see a little soul that comes out of there that is just so delightfully honest and pure. And I mostly, so I love that. And I love that in people too, because frankly, even those people that are really, really hard to be around, it's typically because of fear and insecurity, and they hide it behind their bolstering or their narcissism or their whatever it is. I mean, not that it hasn't got me in trouble, because I can keep thinking grace, 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 grace to the point where I am in a toxic situation. But by and large, trying to figure out, okay, they're not ready, move on is what I need to do though. And I was stuck in a situation.
I think that that's a really important point to make sure that we say solidly, is that, like in the beginning there, I'm saying, like, surround yourself with people who can help you to bring out those good things. So sometimes that does mean making hard decisions and leaving situations that Shauna has done in the past. Leaving situations that maybe weren't serving you the best.
Yeah.
And it's not that you stop caring about those people that are also clearly struggling, or else they wouldn't be. But if you're in a really strong place yourself and you feel like you can help someone like that or a horse like that, then by all means do it. Yeah. Because you're needed. Yeah. But if you feel like it's actually it's detrimental to you, then that's probably not the best choice.
Yeah, because I did that, and I kept thinking, I see the pain, I see where it's coming from, I can help, and then I realized I was getting attacked. A bunch of people around me were getting attacked, and then so everybody was kind of walking on eggshells all the time, and to have that, it took me a long time to realize I was getting sucked into childhood dysfunction and trauma. Yeah, I was just triggering old trauma. And really, sadly to say, I think it was by design from that person. They could see the kind of the softness. And one of the things that I love too is that it takes such strength to be vulnerable. Mm-hmm. So being vulnerable is a strong thing. It is saying, I get it. I'm not infallible. I'm not trying to hide behind being perfect. I'm here to say, ooh, that hurts, or that's scary, or that's whatever it is. And I think that's a sign of, strength and self-awareness and growth and all the things that we should hopefully want for ourselves. And we don't give up on the horses, because they didn't, the people are really complicated, and they can be quite malicious and manipulative and narcissistic even, and
and
damaging.
It is, but those people that are like that, like we've already said 4 times already in this podcast, they are hurting. Yeah. So you can be understanding, you can be loving, but that doesn't necessarily mean that you have to submit yourself to being tortured by that.
Yes. And even when it's hard and it's super scary, sometimes you go running and you find great things.
Mm-hmm.
And then you look back and you're like, it's the
She's
best thing that
talking
ever
about me.
It's the best thing that's ever happened. You know, it was the right thing. And so for whatever lesson to be learned out of that, or to be, you know, grow from, that's all you can do, is try to grow from it. And I think that is really important to be able to do that.
Yes.
There's another thing I was thinking in there. It was, the fact that, and this is going to go for a lot of things, but if you aren't taking care of yourself, if you're not looking out for your well-being, and that
She's
can be
talking about me now.
Well, me too, though, because I did it. I mean, I kept trying and trying. I wouldn't kind of just stop and go, stop.
This is her daily lecture to me. Her daily lecture to me now. You're all getting it.
If you don't practice self-care, if you don't stop and take care of yourself, sleep when you need to, get away from toxic people when you need to, and trying to recognize the difference. Maybe it's for a little bit to regroup and you think maybe you can help, but if you don't take care of yourself, then you're not there for anybody else.
Yeah.
You can't help your horse. You can't help your loved ones. You can't help your friends. You can't help, you know, your causes or whatever it is. So it really is important. And I think this world really reinforces people for go, go, go,
The
go.
United States does.
Yeah. For
At least.
not, yeah. And not to, like, even in Europe, they go on, you know, they all have long holidays and stuff. We're like, no, you know, that's a 4-day weekend. Good enough. You know, and I think we need to, you know, take care of ourselves. And we kind of, people get applauded for working themselves to the bone.
Applauded, and I think also that it's viewed as laziness if you're not.
Yeah. So it's kind of a double-edged sword there.
Yeah.
When really what it is in a lot of cases, it's people running from their emotions when they're doing all sorts of things,
Sean was
including
talking about me this whole
working.
podcast.
No, I'm not. I can picture a lot of people in situations. And it took, honestly, it took
Most
me.
of them look like me.
Yes, whoever it is, Jesse, was just whoever, you know. It was when I got leukemia that I started. I mean, again,
I don't even know if probably a lot of people know that.
yeah. So I have
Can you
something
stand
called
over here, please?
chronic lymphocytic leukemia. It's considered indolent, and it can kick in. It can and be treated. I haven't been treated. I take a ton of supplements because at one point I was going back, and the doctor said, I don't know what happened, but your bone marrow is working better than ever, and that trumps your higher white blood count. And so now I can never stop taking the supplements I was taking at the time because it's a superstitious behavior. Maybe not. I don't know. But
I doubt it.
yeah, I doubt it too. But anyway, so I haven't had to be treated for it. I'm still in a good place. The only thing I get is I get tired. It makes me kind of feel rather fatigued. And so that's my only symptom. And, you know, and thank God for that. But I also think because of that happening, it made me stop and think, I better take care of myself. You know, so when I need to sleep, I sleep. When I need to rest, I rest. When I need to, whatever it is. So in a weird way, it's made a lot of days sunnier and brighter, but it's also helped me to be more aware of that self-care. Because I ran myself ragged. I didn't, you know, I remember going in and them going, you have kidney stones. And I was like, oh, I thought I pulled something, you know. I didn't even notice, you know. And so I think that in a way it was a blessing that reminded me to take care of myself. But I don't wish that everybody had that strong of a wake-up call, because you could just start take care of yourself now.
Yeah, and I struggle with this. Shauna knows. I don't do very well, and I come from a long line of people guilt tripping, making you feel like
we're gonna lay down on the couch like we're talking to our therapist now.
Yeah. But with love, it's lovely guilt tripping. But it's just it's kind of like go, push.
Yeah.
So
you're doing better, I gotta say, though. You're doing much better.
That's because you make me.
I do make her. And then in the beginning, like, she would be like, emotional about something and feeling like, and I'd say, I think you're tired.
No.
And she's go, I am not. It's
was
not
never.
that. It was not. And then in the morning I said, well, okay, well, just humor me and just, go to bed and we'll, and then in the morning I feel a lot better.
Baloney. I was never tired. She's lying. I would never admit it.
But it's a process to recognize and balance that out, and it takes a bit to trust it.
So what I was going to say was, even if it's a little thing, like there was one time, and I only did it once. I really should get better. But is it Pilates? I think it's Pilates. I don't do stuff like that. Like I just work. But
Nonstop.
yeah. Pilates, I did it one day.
Uh-huh.
And I did the most beginner one that I could ever do. And it was really simple, and it had some little breathing stuff in it, and like putting your hand over your heart, and man, I felt really relaxed.
This is the first time hearing of this.
I don't know.
Okay, well, let's do more of that then.
I felt really good.
I'll join you.
I felt really good. So yeah, I might do it again. But I'm saying, like, it doesn't have to be a big thing.
Uh-huh.
It was like 10 minutes long.
But it was enough for you to slow down and let the world go by for a minute and think about you. And I think that's so important if we can have those little checks in there.
Yeah, because let's talk about the nervous system.
Oh.
I don't know anything about it, but I do know one thing.
Huh?
A couple years ago, before Shauna came, I was having such bad back problems because I've done a lot of physical work in my life and riding, like so much riding. And I had a lot of low back pain, like sacrum almost area. And so I went to one chiropractor for probably 3 years. And it sort of helped, but not really. Then I started going to another chiropractor, and they recommended that I get this personal trainer.
Mm-hmm.
So he started coming to the house, and we did a lot of exercises, which was needed, but what he really did was he taught me about my nervous system and about how I was tensing and my breathing was horrible and like all this stuff. And that helped me so much because I did not recognize. I just was like killing myself, and meaning, I don't know, like you stay in this not aroused, that's a terrible word for that.
No, but it is. It's kind of, adrenaline.
Yes, this adrenalized state.
Yeah, this anxious.
And I feel like I live in that state.
Yeah. And that's what I not so long
Shauna's
ago. And that's I realized not so long ago that I am constantly have tight muscles, because even though I feel like my head's all right, it's not. My nervous system has probably been like that since I was a little girl.
Yeah.
And it's been so regular I don't notice it.
It's grippy.
Yeah.
Grippy.
And when I had the shoulder surgery, okay, so now you just got to sit there, and they just give you.
You sit there like this.
This is me trying to relax it. And so you're sitting and you're like, okay, just relax. And within less than a minute, I'd be back to fighting it. And I realized that's not my shoulder. That's me.
Yeah, that's exactly what I would do with my low back.
Yeah.
And the chiropractor, I loved him because I still go to him, but he's so straightforward that he would say, when I first started going in there, he said, if you don't stop doing what you're doing, you will be incapacitated by the time you're 50. So I was like, okay, I got to do something.
Yeah.
And he said, you walk like you're 90. And I didn't know. I just was walking.
He said, let me get my walker.
No 90-year-old anyway walks with the... No, I'm kidding. As much pace as I had. No, I'm kidding. But yeah, I was just really stiff and sore. And it became so much... Here's another like key life thing. It becomes so much a part of your life that you don't recognize it anymore.
It's your new normal.
Yeah, I was getting on my hands and knees to put the dog's food dish down on the floor and just learn to be okay with it.
Yeah.
Like I couldn't bend over to put it down.
Yeah. That's really a lot.
And I don't care if you're 40. At the time I was not 40 yet. I'm 45 now.
Surprise, everybody.
I wasn't even 40 yet. and had that much trouble.
And this was before me, so I didn't cause it all.
No.
Like she likes to act like.
No.
And I think that...
For you, it's just emotional trauma. Anyway, what?
I think, though, that it's super important to recognize that how, like with my anxiety disorder, I didn't know I even had it. And all of a sudden, my dad's like, oh, it's anxiety. It's not, whatever. But I think, so now I'm trying to
You're all alone,
relearn how, no, I'm not, but trying to relearn how to reset, reset the nervous system. So
how are you?
so that we can get back to it not being my normal,
Yeah. How are you going to do that? I don't
Well,
think you've done that yet.
Shut up. I am working actually with a therapist with it.
Yeah.
And nowadays
I'm not.
seems like
I'm too good for that.
it seems like therapy isn't about just
I do go to-
meds and talking. Now it's
Yeah.
about let's identify and unpack. So, because I feel like for me, thoughts go from subconscious over my conscious to subconscious. So here's a thought and I go, ow, ooh, I don't know, that makes me uncomfortable. And I ignore it and I do something dysfunctional to run from it or...
I definitely don't think it's just you, though.
No, I don't. But I'm trying to stop it now and go,
Yeah.
wait, why is it that I'm doing that?
Developing awareness.
Yes. And continuing to grow and learn. Look at us.
This is
We're your therapists.
This is my favorite chapstick.
And you know who makes it? 7-Eleven.
7-Eleven. It's all organic. It's called, all it simply is called is Beeswax Spearmint Flavored Lip Balm.
It's 7-Eleven brand. And I think we got it in the airport in Dallas.
Okay. Well,
Because there's a 7-Eleven
if you
in
guys
the
want
international
some,
terminal.
just go into the Dallas airport.
I think 7-Eleven probably. I'm going to tell you, I just ordered a bunch of them because she's going to need them. And then I was like, and I like them.
Yeah.
So I ordered.
Hey, if you tell Shauna that you want something, that you like something, there's gonna be 12 of them coming your way. So we have 12 coming. Anyway,
I think
they like those detours.
Yeah, I
I
hope so.
This is letting you know exactly how our brains work.
Yes.
It's not stable up there.
Yeah, and it just goes, oh, what? What'd you say? But anyway, I think that's really good.
What else were we just talking about? Oh, yeah. Oh, we need to tie this into horses a little bit better than we
Oh, yeah.
A little bit.
Okay, well, I think, what and it reminds me of, too, now the horses don't have this choice because they didn't ask to be here. We've chosen this for them, so we're kind of their keepers. But I feel like we're here to serve them, not them here to serve us. That's how we look at it. But as we have our little charges that we want to take care of, they are so responsive to the herd around them that think about that. You know what I mean? If there's somebody, I remember one time we went to do a clinic and it was, I think it was last year, and we went to do a clinic at a place where no horses lived at this place, but none of the horses in the clinic lived at this place. They found a place where they could host the clinic. And so all the horses come into this environment. So nobody lived there. Those horses did not settle. Mm-hmm. They were screaming. There was separation anxiety. They got more settled because of the positive reinforcement, but they came in lit up like nobody's business. Then, like 2 weeks later, we went and did a clinic at another place where none of the horses lived at this place. They were all settled. They could go by themselves down to the bottom arena and work without any unsettledness. So what's the difference there? It's the herd that's around them.
Yeah.
So as they read and they go, okay, who was my herd at this place? And they're like, my herd is troubled, at the first place. And I think they just thought something's wrong here. These guys are not settled. And the second place, the horses were so settled and had a strong positive reinforcement history. Nobody at the other place did. It's not saying it's all because of positive reinforcement, but I think they were kind of they just did things a little harshly is what it seemed to me. But anyway, so it was the herd, their perception of the herd that really changed through how they responded.
Yeah. And I think too that they probably smell it. They smell
they
smell that fear.
Yep, because there's like pheromones and chemicals that are in the urine, and tears even. I mean, not that they cry, Yeah, the manure.
Yes, they're smelling each other's tears. I know it.
But like they say, our tears have a different composition.
Oh yeah.
But
Did you ever see someone take pictures of those?
yeah, I did a long time ago.
Yeah, like what it looks like under a microscope when you have sad tears versus happy tears versus anxious versus like all these
Allergy
different emotions.
tears. Yeah.
And they looked so different, and it was just so cool. We should look that up sometime.
We should. So I'm sure that those horses could smell that in they could feel the tension of the worry, and the unsettledness, and I'm sure those horses were probably screaming too to the horses because they're like, who is that? And then I'm sure they can smell it in the urine and the
manure.
Yeah, that's the right word for it, the poop. And so I think it's really, and then at the other place, because they're all settled and happy, and then it's like, hey, hi, who are you? And everybody responded to that kind of, to who lived there.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and I think that's important to recognize. And we can't always, change everything. But if you know there's an antagonist that's near your horse, do what you can to not keep putting them, it's like, being stuck with a bully.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? If you just have to go with them every single day, or you work with them every single day and you think I can help, and then you can't, and then it's, but those horses, to be exposed to that every single day, maybe just taking a toll every single day and knocking them down till their nervous system is staying at this kind of agitated state. So I think there are certain situations where it would better for them to be alone than to be with a horse who they are not going to get through to. So sometimes there's certain horses that the first few days you're a little like, okay, give it a bit.
Mm-hmm.
And then, but sometimes it just doesn't settle. Or sometimes you get a very stable herd and one horse comes in and every horse is agitated. And
I've had that happen, and I've had those horses exit the property right away.
Yeah, because you can't,
I think
it's not worth the rest of the herd.
3 different times I've had horses come in where 2 of them I had them go away immediately. The third one, it was actually my horses just would not accept this mare. And they were just being a little too hard on her. And I was like, you know what? This isn't fair to her.
Yeah.
And they can't move, my horses. So
yeah,
you got to go, because it just wasn't the right thing to do.
And I wish we knew what it was like in that situation.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I don't know. And she was a little chestnut quarter horse mare.
Uh-huh.
All of my horses are warm bloods, and they're kind of similar. I don't know, but it just felt like they knew that she was not like them.
Yeah.
And I've had plenty of other
breeds,
horses coming, thoroughbreds and warm bloods coming in and out that did okay. I had one thoroughbred gelding come in that he was just so aroused when he came in that he just couldn't handle it. He was a gelding. He was not a stallion, but he just couldn't handle it. 2 of them had that situation.
Pitched in a tent.
Nice.
And I think that, a lot of times I think if they're not socialized, I think I watched Henley go out with me out to New Mexico, and then she came back clearly, but when we went out there, I could watch her figure out how to meet new horses, and she just did what she did. Then she's like, that doesn't work. And, and then she figured out how to adapt because she's been in such a social group. She understood social dynamics. Okay, I got to figure something else out. And it was, I think she could probably go with but I wanted to be sure she was with somebody. I didn't want her. And she just got really good at making friends. And so I think that she could go with a herd anytime, anywhere, because she will figure out, and she's kind. You know what I mean? She doesn't just go in like being too fearful,
I think you're right.
Being too mean, which really comes out of fear too. So sometimes they hide their fear behind being the aggressor, and sometimes they hide their fear between just staying away. But I think she'd always be okay.
Mm-hmm.
So I think some of them come and probably like, I don't know how to do this.
Mm-hmm.
This is scary.
Socialization is definitely something that I'm sure everything, people, horses,
anything social.
Everybody needs to learn. Yes. Excellent. I mean, just look at like homeschooling kids. Not that all homeschool kids struggle with that. I have multiple nieces and nephews that were homeschooled, but they also made sure that they took care of the social part.
Yeah.
In their homeschooling groups, there were a lot of kids they didn't do that with, and those kids struggle socially.
Right.
And I think that I know that horses can definitely have trouble with that too.
Yeah. That makes sense.
When when Tiso, actually the very first horse I bred, his name was Tiso. And he had this, and I don't know, another mare came in or something. I think it was Luna. I think when Luna moved there.
He's about to have a baby here
Yeah.
now. Not with
Couple
Tiso.
days, Lulu's supposed to have a baby.
Yeah.
Well, she will have a
Babu.
baby. Hopefully everything goes okay.
Tiso.
When Luna came in, if she looked at him, he understood really early on, even though he hadn't really had a lot of new horses moving in there, he knew that if she looked his direction, he needed to divert his eyes.
Mm-hmm.
And if he didn't, she was going to
Continue with that.
He was
yeah.
going to be in trouble. But as long as he diverted his eyes, he kept, he easily then
Could be close to her.
schmoozed up to her.
Yeah. Isn't that funny? And that's what, we talked before about Hadley. And
Every time
Hadley
she'd look,
could just twitch her little lip a little bit. And everybody's like, we're just going to give her a little space.
Yeah.
It's not big. It's not, she's not mean to anybody.
Yeah.
But she can just say, she's the matriarchal one out there. So everybody's like, hi. But just one little thing. And they're like, let's just give her a little space right now.
So one more quick thing.
Yes.
What should someone do if they have one of these horses that is in that place in their nervous system where they just can't seem to figure out how to go to that place of settling and letting things go?
And there's a ton. I think most horses are kind of in that state. Not all of them, but I think a lot of them are in this kind of hypervigilant. Keep in mind, hypervigilance comes from a need to feel safe. So if you have a horse that seems super sensitive and looky, they probably have a little bit of a lit up, system. So going back to familiar, comfortable things, so utilizing tools that they know and recognize that can help them feel safe, utilizing behaviors that have been well established and classically conditioned that can help them be safe and familiar, letting them put their energy in a good place, but not working them into a frenzy with the energy, but letting them have a place to put their energy so they can kind of get that place. It's management first. Management is your first go-to. Always check physical, make sure it's something pain going on, or, a poor saddle fit or whatever it is. And then you go to your management issues. Do they have 24-hour forage? Once you've dealt with maybe they had ulcers or something. So you dealt with the physical. Then you think, do they have all the forage they need so they can keep themselves comfortable? Do they have freedom to move? Can they be with friends? Do they have a good thick bed to sleep on and shelter? The things they need. So I think some of those issues can be changed with management. But like we said, sometimes they're not comfortable with, we just think, okay, you're going to have friends. And then they're like, I'm horrified. I don't know how to deal with this. And we might be actually working against what we're wanting to do. So go about it slowly. But mostly, I think when we use positive reinforcement, remember, it tends to light up a part of the brain and produce more of the feel-good things. So it can help them have the serotonin and the dopamine and the, all the things that help them to feel better. So going to that place and giving them some freedom and some choice and teaching them to do things that can help them to feel good. That's what I think. What do you think? What else? What have I forgotten?
No, I think that's good.
Okay. Well, there you go. Your little...
It wasn't necessarily a training one, but...
No, I think that's the point. We're there to do all the training stuff.
Yeah.
So this is kind of whatever's on our mind is what you get to hear. It's all about us. It's a Shauna Jesse show.
No.
So I think but that does affect horses. It affects you because if you're not right, it affects your horses.
Yes, it does affect horses.
I think, and it was such a good post that it's really a huge reminder on every facet of what we need to do to...
Too bad somebody didn't respond to it.
I'm going to. I just had a lot going on.
Nah.
So I will get to it in a little while.
All right.
By the time you guys see this, I will have gotten to it.
Yes.
Okay. Bye, you guys.
Bye. Have
Take
a good
care.
week. Rest of your week.